heartbeat of the great mother that comes in with pulsations and cancels out the other heartbeat. Once this happens, you become unbreakable. So, the kidneys respond, is controlled by this divine heartbeat, and it has a symbiotic nature. The kidneys then regulates the body and gives a flow of fluids or whatever the kidney does to make a God body. And it is connected with the spleen, the liver, and all of that. So the heart chakra comes in on another level. It comes in and goes to another level, and it signals to the kidneys to correspond with it. And these kidneys correspond with it and send it to the rest of the organs of the body, and then you become Superman and Superwoman. So the government knows this, and they have to come in and shut down your kidneys. They take this machine that they got to tell which ones have the auras of that particular level, that's of that conscious level, even the ones that don't know it have a certain amount of spirituality about them, that they're radiating, although they might be dead, and they'll shut down their kidneys to stop the flow of the heartbeat to manifest throughout the rest of the body. So the kidneys would be the governing factor. It would be, well, the heart would be the governing factor. The kidneys will actually dispense what the heart is actually given to it. You understand where I'm coming from here? You see what I'm saying? So, in this book, Isha Swallowed the Lumens, The Opening of the Way, give you some bibliography on it. There's a whole chapter on the heart chakra, and in here, see what page this thing is on. They talk about how it has a relation to the kidneys, and the kidneys have a relation to the rest of the body. In this book, The Opening of the Way, this book is still in print. This is an older copy of it, The Opening of the Way, and it has a symbiotic nature with the kidneys. So they have to shut down the kidneys, and they do it through several things, but one thing is the flu shot. They get this flu shot to white folks and tell the white folks on TV, we ran out of the flu shot. and then they'll come to the black community right in Kroger supermarket. And they got plenty flu shots for you. Now remember, the flu shot vaccine that they're giving to you is a serum to shut down your kidneys. You better believe it, or let it alone. You see what I'm saying? But that's what time it is. Now, let's say that book again. The Opening of the Way, Practical Guide to the Wisdom Teachings of Ancient Egypt by Isha, I-S-H-A, Swallow, S-C-H-W-A-L-L-E-R-D-E, Delumens, D-E-L-U-V-I-C-Z, I-C-Z. We'll put that on the tape. You can get it when you come up and view the book. Simple book, but also answers another question. I did a lecture in February called Black Mental Illness. We did part 1 in February. I just did a part 3 last Sunday in D.C. And in the lecture, we're trying to analyze the consciousness of Negroes out here, and there's no breakthroughs. I said, it's almost like they're on some kind of regimental track that they can't break free of. It's like some type of drone type of machinery, mentality they can't look up and say, hey, it's a new day. It's something that's got them caught in this grind. And he said, the brother TJ was doing the lecture, said automation. I said, that's the word, automation. So, got back home, went into the used bookstore, and I said, damn, it's open on the way. I said, I don't know what happened to my copy. You know how it is, nigga steal your shit. This is one of the guys, so I picked the shit up for $5. Picked it up, this is an older copy, it'd be about $16 now. And this was the day after I did this tape. And there's a whole chapter on the different aspects of the car. There's one is the divine car. Then there's this inferior car and the animal car. And it talks about, and I said, wait a minute, hold on, because this is going to explain why we have people that can't get this consciousness. Well, I have already said in my lectures years ago that you have to be radiating at a heart chakra level to get this particular consciousness. If somebody says, is my heart chakra open? I say, you here, ain't you? That's like some other people say, you know, my kundalini rose. I say, aren't you here? If your kundalini hadn't had a certain amount of raising, you wouldn't be up in here. You know what I'm saying? You'd be in some Sunday go to meeting church. You know what I'm saying? You know, like some girl, you know, was in the record store the other day, and this girl said, she said, well, whatever these albums this people, white boy don't buy, I'm going to give them to you. So I said, shit, I'm going to stick around and see what she got. Although I got 5,000 albums, maybe 6,000. He got a whole dining room was full of everything ever made. You know, and so I said, I'm still stick around. And so I was going through the albums, and the girl said, are you saved? I said, that's a motherfucker. I ain't heard that one since the 70s. So I said, yes.
Right.
So she said, she asked my girl what she said. My girl said, hell no. I got a detestation for Jesus. I said, you was awful hard on her, wasn't you? She was like, shit. That was Colin coming through. Fuck that shit, you know. You know, I said, yeah, you probably right. She said, I did it because the next time she'll think twice asking somebody a little dumb shit. She's only doing it because she's been taught that. Saved from what? You know what I'm saying? I'm saying, shit, I'm trying to get to hell. Because it's got to be better than this bullshit here. Hell got to be a jacuzzi with a whole bunch of hot sauce. You tell me it's hot hell, that means they got to be selling some buffalo wings down that motherfucker. I'm in on it. That's right. Buffalo wings rule. Shit. Now, in here, they talk about, and this is the reason, and so I say it's some automaton. Our people, automation. I say, yeah, you're right. Our people, it's an automation. It's like they're stuck on some type of automation, and they can't wake up a minute. Something got them. And in this book, they talk about the inferior car, the animal car, and the divine car. The animal car is what most people are on, and then the next level is the inferior car. And the other people are on the divine car, which means it's governed by the heart chakra. So your heart chakra is radiating at a certain level for you to be on the divine car. And they say, but the inferior car and the animal car is ruled by something called automaton. I say, that's it, automation. Automation. So they're on some type of automated system, automaton, that's ruling them. And they're programmed, but it's an automation. And they call it inferior car to divine car. All in this book, Isha Swallow the Lubitz book, which is the wife of R.A. Swallow the Lubitz, who died in 61 and she died in 78. But it's in 78. He was on his deathbed. He said, I spent all my life illuminating others and I didn't illuminate myself. But his wife went more into the esoteric field. And as a result, this book, Opening of the Way, it talks about this same science. Now, y'all all right?
Yeah.
I want to get into a few things, and we're going to go into question and answer. We're going to go into a break. But I want to get into a few other things. This book came out in 1990, 2000. It came out in 2000, and it was paperback. It was hardback. It cost about $20-something. This is the paperback edition. Came out in like 2001. It's an international bestseller called Ruled by Secrecy. This is probably one of the better books on the Illuminati and the secret societies ever written. The other ones were not as scholarly as this one. This one is the definitive text by Jim Marrs. Oh, okay. M-A-R-R-S, Jim Marrs, Ruled by Secrecy. It's interesting in here because I wanted to read something into here that encapsulates what we're dealing with this particular time as far as our people and why they cannot tap into a certain amount of consciousness. And he says in the introduction on page 4, Jim Marrs' book, Ruled by Secrecy, yet despite the length and breadth of the information superhighway, the average American remains woefully ignorant. It is not because they are stupid or mentally challenged. They have simply not been exposed to the information now available. Many thoughtful, educated people in a variety of fields, physicians, lawyers, computer experts, stockbrokers, accountants, bankers, merchants, scientists, teachers, etc., that's all your educated field, are totally in the dark about the wide varieties of issues and connections between them and concerning who truly rules the United States. And this is what it says. The primary cause for such ignorance is the lack of time to educate ourselves and the reliance of corporate-owned mass media, which does not present the information in all the broadcast implications, i.e., as J. Levering once said, freedom of the press is for those who own the presses and the TV and radio stations. But it's one thing it just said here. They say they simply lack the time to educate themselves. The reason why most of our people are stuck in a rut, especially the most learned of us, is because of career. You lack the time because you are working in the career. And it's a form of slavery. You simply, when you get off, you can't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? But go to the refrigerator and get you some ice cream and lay your ass down. You see what I'm saying? Right. Now, it goes on to say, listen. It goes on to say, according to the conspiracy researchers, get out of that conspiracy theories. That's the government telling you that. That's a theory. No, it's a reality. The conspiracy researchers Jonathan Bacon and John Warren, American public, says that the American public attitude are shaped by a sanitized Disney view of both history and current events. The Disney version of history could easily be called the New York Times version or the TV news version or the college textbook version. So they're dropping all this up in here saying that actually we're on a mental lockdown based on mind control. Now, a couple of things we need to get through before I go into this one thing, then we're going to go into a break. Is you notice how, and we in retrospect now, because in the late 80s, early 90s, we went into this whole Afrocentric consciousness. We started wearing the African clothes. We started, for the first time in history, going back to classical antiquity and studying our ancient history. And we had a lot of black people doing that. Then all of a sudden, we had black people that was going to all the meetings. And then all of a sudden, in the late 90s and the early 2000s, they ended up back in the church. Does anybody know some niggas that was conscious, and all of a sudden they ended up back into the church? And we are baffled because we don't understand why. Why would conscious people, which means that their energy had to be radiating at a certain level for them to even be interested in it, this consciousness, why would they end up back in the church? The reason why is this. Our subconscious mind accepts the original data that it is given. It takes that data, receives that data, and acts upon that data as its reality. If that data is wrong, it still acts upon that data as if it is reality. And when the real data comes, because it was not the prior data, of the original data that came, although the original data could be wrong, it will reject the real data or the true data, although it might take a little time based on you having a certain amount of information. The problem here is that old data or that old indoctrination is there from the beginning, and we are all in this America indoctrinated with certain falsehoods, certain untruths, and somebody else's view of history, life, and the world at large. and religion. So what happens here is, although you have received all this new data, you have not cleaned out the old data. It is still in the subconscious mind. They say your cup runneth over with ignorance. Like in the Matrix, they say we don't try not to free your mind after a certain age because it has some problems letting go. So the old data is still in there. And so what happens is although the old information is to believe, it's still, the subconscious mind believes it to be reality, believes it to be truth, although it could be wrong. And so although you're getting new information, it's only files of data, but it's not synthesized into the reality of being true. So they say what you have to do is get into the darkness. And this is for everything you do. And you go into your subconscious mind, and you gently tell your subconscious mind, I know that you have been given basic truth to be believed as reality. Or you've been given this original data that is now wrong, and you're still holding on to it. And now I have to release this original data, although it being wrong. I have to release it so that the new information can come in and you can accept the truth. And this is why some people, they never released it. You see what I'm saying? That's another thing. We have what is called thought forms. That's why they always say think positive in one aspect. Thought forms is this. You have a person that would be always negative thinking. You ever see some people that is negative, they come around, your head start hurting. You're like, well, something ain't right. Every time you come around, there's always some drama and some shit, and I start feeling bad. But too often those people, that's a force and an energy that they have created in them. A thought form that permeates their whole life. And what happens a lot of times is those people will up and die. And after they die, the thought form that they created does not die with them, because the thoughts were never physical. And so what this thought form does, it goes out into the astral plane and bounces around. And it stays there after the person could have been dead 100 years, 30, 40, 50 years. And what it does, it bounces around until it can find a body conducive to it. And the body conducive to it is one that thinks negative thoughts and fucked up thoughts. So whenever you start thinking negative thoughts, it's this thought form that's negative said, this is the body of the light energy, and it can go and gravitate towards the same negative thoughts. And so therefore, you become even more negative because you are even dealing with thoughts of some dead motherfucker years ago. And these thoughts become a part of you. So that's why they say sometimes you got to go beyond even the particular parts when it comes to prosperity. So they say, no, don't never say you poor. You know what I'm saying? On that particular level, you know. Because we're still talking about an energy. We're still talking about energy. You know, it's always interesting. The people who got the money can always make the money. That's because not only do they have the money, they know that they have a certain amount of wealth, so therefore the energy of wealth come to them. And these people can, I knew a guy when he was a millionaire, and he would hit the illegal lottery. The illegal lottery used to be the one that paid the money. And he'd hit that all the time. I'm like, damn, of all the people that get the damn lottery, this nigga here has got to be. You see what I'm saying? That's because he is dealing with that particular energy. Now, I'm going to go into a little bit of this now, and I'm going to go into some of this when we come back. And that is this. I'm going to get into a couple of things right here. Number one, this has been floating around recently. This is a picture of what is called the African Venus. This is a woman that lived in the 1800s. This picture was sculptured by a guy by the name of Charles Henry Joseph in 1851 of this particular black woman from Ethiopia. Now, the reason why this is so important because they had believed, there was a big argument going on at Morehouse College on whether dreadlocks are locks originated in Africa or in the Caribbean by the Maroon Society. Well, the argument was, well, they had a lot of Egyptian boys used to wear dreads up until a certain age, and then they would cut them. But this picture here clearly shows a sister with locks on the African continent and in Ethiopia, the Horn of Africa, in 1851, which cast that whole theory out of the box. Number one, the guy traveled, this brother also has locks too. This is another brother who was a Sudanese king. And he traveled, the guy traveled to sculpture this brother here about 4 years before this picture. Now, he saw this particular, he sculptured this Sudanese king. He saw this woman and was so smitten by her beauty until he went back 4 years later and sculptured her and named her African Venus, which is what we're dealing with at this particular time, which is the Heru Lakshmi energy. We'll get into it in a few minutes. Okay, African Venus, which means when the Afrocentric scholars were saying, including people like Mr. Louis Farrakhan, as well as Elijah Muhammad, was saying that the black woman was the image of beauty and the standard of beauty all over the world at one time. This is what they were talking about with this particular sister right here. And what happened is I was going to an Egyptian exhibit in Baltimore, Maryland in November, about a year ago, November the 1st. And I walked into the exhibit, was getting ready to go into the exhibit. I had already seen it in Kansas City 2 years before, in 2002. And I was a year before, and I was going to see the Egyptian exhibit, the came-out exhibit of the British Museum, and the Spirit said, come over here and grab this brochure. And I went over and grabbed the brochure, and she was on the inside of the brochure, and I saw this picture. And in so many words, when I went to this gift shop, she said, get me up out of here. So I bought the picture and bought the king to go along with her. And as a result, it's the African Venus, and we've been dealing with these things, and people have been getting them, and immediately sister be like, this sister communicates with me. And this sister communicates with me, so it was one of my jobs to go and get these pictures out of the museum and bring them forward to the black community also, because not only the beauty, because also it shows the origin of the locks. It's interesting here because once I introduced the picture, now they have a whole exhibit downtown of this guy, Henry Joseph, who had over 200 pieces of the different people he did from around the world. That's on display in New York now, going on right now in Manhattan at some museum. We'll get the name of it. But anyway, I only brought, I got these, so they're museum pieces and stuff, so I paid the initial money to get the things and all, and they're museum pieces and stuff. So what I'm doing here is because they're rare. But we also, what we're going to do is we're going to sell these tonight for the people who want them, and we can take down numbers, and we can get some more reproduced before we get out of here, and all, for the people who can, and all, and want to deal with that. Now, the other thing is this. I went to another museum piece. I went to another Egyptian exhibit in Atlanta. When I went there, it was a smaller exhibit compared to the one that was traveling around that's in Canada now, which is the Eternal Egypt, which is in Canada. So for the people that want to see the British Museum with the Book of the Dead and all that, you're going to have to go on the internet and find out where it is. It's in Canada. The other one is called, that was called Eternal Egypt, the art of the British Museum. Now, this one was called, the one in Atlanta that's traveling around is one called The Splendors of Egypt. And the Splendor of Egypt. And so that one was in Atlanta from March to August. So we saw it, being niggas on CP time. We went to go see it in August. So when we got it, they have, they have the little machine to tell you what all the stuff is, the headset. And they had a mummy with a picture of a priestess of Heru, which is what this lecture is about tonight, Heru and the goddess Lakshmi, which is the East Indian version of that, which is the one that brings me damn money too. Right. We're going to get into that in a few damn minutes. Everybody need to get paid. Okay. No, that's Ganesha. That's no, Lakshmi. Ganesha is the elephant god. The East Indian goddess is Lakshmi. Ganesha sits in her court. He brings protection of the house, prosperity, is by Lakshmi. We're going there in a few minutes. But we looked at, so they had a doorway in the museum. And when I went in and stared into, they said, stay into the doorway. They say, if you notice, the doorway is walled up. They say that means that it wasn't meant to go through physically. You're supposed to project yourself through it astrally. And so I stared into the doorway, me, my queen, and the sister Kimberly, who is like my chief psychic, and she used to be my ex-girlfriend about 12 years ago. Ain't that something, you know? You know you hear when you can travel with an ex and your new queen. And you got no fucking World War III going on. You know, but she was my ex but you know, it's cool when she's your ex about 12 years ago. Well, that don't count. She was the ex about a year ago, and that shit wouldn't wash, I guess.
Right.
And there's a reason. Let me tell you something. Women generally hate each other. It's true. Do you know there's a metaphysical reason about that shit? There's a reason about it. The goddesses, they got their own universe. They are used to nurturing. And the goddesses don't take another, even on the goddess level, you don't go into another goddess sphere. That's our universe. So y'all ain't supposed to damn share the same universe. You can do that under the, when you could reduce down to the subservient level of the whole harem thing of the male, and that's you compromise. But you in your true Kali state, now you can't be crossing the stream. They told you in the damn movie, your Ghostbusters don't mix the streams. Well, the goddesses don't play that shit either. So that's why, you know, you can have acquaintances with the sister, but a sister can't come up in your kitchen the wrong motherfucking way and pull down the wrong piece of spice or pepper or pull down the wrong rice. You're like, this ain't happening. Not up in my shit. And although you saying, well, this is on the low level, no, the goddesses don't do that shit. They don't mix the streams now. Because I'm telling you, I done been in the spirit world, I'm telling you, you don't play around like that. So you sisters are in your right order when it comes to some shit of hating on each other on that particular level. Now, you got to coexist, but there are laws to coexisting, and you can't be going into another motherfucking stream. Especially when that nigga is up in there. You know what I'm talking about. So I understand totally. So I stared into this house. There was a priest of hair room, and there was a doorway, like a doorway of her temple, and they say, stare into the doorway. And so when I stared into the doorway, and we stayed, and me, my queen, and the other sister, we got back home, I started cleaning out, everybody started cleaning out, and all kinds of stuff started happening. And the next thing I know, I started becoming allergic to stuff, and then, all of a sudden, I became allergic to soy. Soy products, anything soy products, teriyaki, and soy sauce, and tofu, and all this kind of stuff here. And I said, shit, this would kill me when I was a vegetarian. I'd be dead. Lips swelling up, looking like Bubba. So when I went to the melanin conference, I asked the sister named Ann Brown, which was a doctor, I said, well, you know, what's happening here? And so she made it be known, she said, well, you know, most of the soy that the people are getting is synthetic. They're reproducing that stuff. It's not even organic or whatever stuff, and that's all the Asians use. And it's just like liquid plastic. And in some kind of way, it has something to do. Whenever this entity started coming up inside of me, it couldn't take the soy. Now go get the first Warlock movie. Because you know, Warlock is Horus Lock, the Lock of Horus. That's what a magician, Warlock is a magician of Heru, Horus, Horlock, Warlock. So that's the magician, the magus. So the Warlock, how they killed the Warlock at the end of the movie, she took some salt and stuck in his veins and killed him. So the sodium off of the doggone soy sauce and all that type of stuff and the teriyaki and all that stuff is killing black folks, and especially the vegetarian, because you want all the tofu in the soy. This the key. Now I knew something was going on because a year prior to that, because this has just happened to me when I just got allergic to Chinese food. Ain't that a bitch? Good as Chinese food is. You know. But anyway, hell, when you're vegetarian, that's the first thing you start eating.
Right.
But the key here is, when I was in Baltimore, Maryland, in a year ago. After the lecture, I said, I'm hungry. The sister said, well, ain't nothing. I'm a Chinese food. She said, there's a Chinese food open on every corner in the black community. I'm like, damn. Baltimore is like still in one of those third world countries. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They got the movie The Wire. This show that come on HBO, they got The Wire. Every out of work actor is on The Wire. And this is a government show to show a sense of a drug war going on in the black community, which they have suppressed. The drug world is really at its lowest level, but you wouldn't think of that if you was living in Spain, China, Africa. Because remember now, HBO is owned by a company out of Britain, and they take this shit and the Jews show it all over the world. Yep. And they're showing this wild movie, a show that comes on. They just got rid of Oz when the black man was in prison for 7 years. Now they got The Wire, and this thing with this drug wars and all, and it's either black people catching black people, or black people is the drug people. Yep. So they got this thing going on, and it's shot in Baltimore, Maryland. But they do use this as mind control around the country and around the world. And so people in China and people in Kenya think that we are drug dealers. And this is a form of the same thing. They don't see you in your $40,000 a year and $50,000 a year job in your Mercedes Benz. They see you as the pathetic characters that you see in The Wire. And this is all a part of the Jewish mind control to make sure that the real chosen people are presented as doggone thieves, murderers, and thugs. That's right. Okay, going right along. So she said there's a Chinese place in Baltimore on every corner. I said, damn. Whenever I hear that red flag go up, something to this. But it's in the soy sauce and the teriyaki and all that good-ass Chinese food. There's some shit up in there that stops the melanin. So what happened was when I went through the doorway, the spirit was in me saying, now you can't eat this no more. Because your lips swell up like bubble. And they say you can't eat no more tofu. Now it's interesting here about the tofu, because Nexus magazine in 1999 came out, and out of all the stuff they were saying, the worst thing on the planet is tofu. And they had all these articles, and after 10 years of researching, they said tofu is the worst thing going on. Now check this out. They got a cartoon out with little cartoon characters, and one of the enemies on the cartoon character is called Killer Tofu. See what I'm saying? So it's very key, and it's interesting here. And then in Nexus magazine last month say soy allergies, and they said the rise of soy allergies. That's what this stuff is. And as you go on and on, you're gonna have to get off that shit, because that shit is devastating to the melanin. You see what I'm saying? It's very key because it's plastic. They make plastic out of that shit. Yeah, and you see what I'm saying? They make plastic out of that stuff. You, like I said, you don't want to eat what an Asian eat no way. People motherfucker done lost all breasts, all ass, all pee. They don't have nothing on their bodies but a head and a stomach. Don't grow past 4 feet. They have emaciated themselves off of the human structure. See what I'm saying? And they say in China, if it moves, they eat it. They got 1 billion people. So anyway, we started transforming. And I said, damn, man, I said, I wish, because prosperity started coming. All types of sexual desires and all kind of shit started happening. So I said, man, I wish I could get that doorway. I wish I had a picture. And the Spirit said, you do have a picture of it. You had the picture since 2000, since 1991. You've been giving it out, but it's relevant now because Venus just passed by the sun on 666, June the 6th, 2004. 2 and 4 is 6. 666. And that represented the return of what is called a sleeping Venus, which the goddess Venus is supposed to be the new aspect of the divine feminine in the final stage. And as a result, they say, we're going to go deeper into this when we get through. They said, you do it. They said, now the picture you got is activated, and all they got to do is stare into the doorway. So here's a picture of the Temple of Dendera. This is the Temple of Dendera. This was done by Napoleon's artists, the reproduction in the 17 and 1800s. Napoleon of Egypt. It's got a black doorway. And I have been selling these things been giving them away and selling them since the late 90s. But all of a sudden, she said, now go back, it's relevant. So people have been getting this picture, and they say, all you got to do is project your energy into the doorway. Let me give you an example. You might say, look, hell, I need a couple of $100. Or I need to get rid of this disease. I need to do something. Whatever you need to do, you go to the doorway and you ask the goddess Hathor, or Het-Heru, who is the Denver. The temple of Denver is the temple of Hathor, or Het-Heru. And you go in the doorway and you project yourself through the doorway. And as a result, you get what you want. So it's as simple as that now. It's called creative visualization. But these particular pictures, and so spiritually, I've been giving these things out for about since October 16th, and the shit been working. All right, now going right along. The East Indian aspect of that is the goddess Het-Heru or Hathor is a goddess called Lakshmi. Now, for whatever Het-Heru is, a lot of the energy with it haven't been used for thousands of years. But this entity was never stopped worship in India. It's the same Het-Heru energy, because that's what it is. It's the goddess of love. It's Venus in Rome, which is the black culture, your Etruscans. It's Aphrodite in Greece, which is your Minoans and Phoenicians. It's Het-Heru in Egypt. It's Erzuli in Voodoo, the Hemmitt. It's Ishtar in Babylonia. It's Anana in Samaria. It's Lakshmi. But Lakshmi is so powerful until Lakshmi is the goddess of prosperity. And the word Lakshmi, which is a goddess, when they say you got some Lakshmi money, they even call currency over there Lakshmi. Now the thing about it over there, you've never seen no poor East Indians come over here. That's because they got this goddess. Now, for the people who got prosperity problems, you need to get a hold to these two things right here. Because it's the same energy. This one is going to do some stuff, and you want to arm yourself with this particular picture. Now, this one I had to fight real hard, because what happens is the East Indian pictures, most of the ones they show of her is covered up. She's the goddess of the lotus. She's the goddess of wealth, prosperity, and beauty. But the ones they show are modern pictures. Most of them are white looking, because you know in the light, and they got the caste system over there. They won't show the older ones. This is one that's probably 2,000 to 3,000 years old. And anytime you see the most voluptuous aspect, that's symbolic of her greater power. And as you can see, she's about to be fine as 4 niggas. Now that's her sister, right? Look at them hips. Ain't no bones about it. That ain't no wide on money. So anyway, I had to look real hard to get this engraving from a museum, and I had to get this engraving. They didn't want motherfuckers to see this so much, they put it in a satanic book. That's what I told you before. Anytime they want to hide something good, they put it in here. So I had to go real hard to get one of her original pictures. You know, you see what I'm saying? So whenever you see the most voluptuous, that's symbolic of her higher power. Now, why this one is more powerful? Because see, what happened was here is this is more of the pre-dynastic flavor. When you see the guys in Hemmitt, although they show them in their new figures, they're not as voluptuous as the ones in East India. That's because the East Indians were the pre-dynastic Egyptians that traveled on up into India, because they were the Kushites, which is Ethiopians, or the Kushites. So this is a much older form of the goddess and much more voluptuous when the sexuality was worshipped. So this is a very powerful piece. And what you want to do is get some of these and put it in your house and adorn yourself with this. And as a result, and get you some lotus oil and start burning that. And as a result, you'll get prosperity. Now, a brother in D.C. last week, we went to the store and I said, Spirit said, you need to we bought a statue of her. And I said, you need to get one of these, man. He said, yeah, I'm going through some little financial problem. And he got the statue and burned some cold incense in it in one night, and the next day somebody broke him up $1,000. You see what I'm saying? I guarantee you, don't miss out on this. This is some real stuff. This stuff. Now, you're saying these are mere pictures, but what's happening here is we're in a certain energy. And a certain energy we're in is this Venus energy, and It's the energy of prosperity. So when you line yourself up with it, you see what I'm saying? You become prosperous as well as healing. Another thing, we're going to go deeper into this particular concepts, these particular concepts in a minute when we come back. This is the other final one, is this particular one here, which is very key, because we are also in a Mayatean cycle. Anything into the new, we're in a judgment period. Anything with the scales and anything at this particular time is a Maya energy. So this is one that's coming from the sarcophagus of King Tut. And this is one that's very rare as far as the design of it. The simple fact is, this had to come out of a book that costs about $300 now by the name of Alexander Penkoff. So when you go to the universities, you can go in and see these volumes, but they were never for sale. And it costs about $300, but I just so happened, the Spirit let a cracker sell me one for $20 about 7, 8 years ago. And he didn't know, we always never know what they're selling. That's the spirit world. So this is one of Maya, and you see Heru on the east side and Anubis down here. And this is one by Alexander Penkoff. We got all of these black and whites going for 5 and the colors going for 10. But you need to adorn yourself with this, because the thing about it now, you know me now, I ain't never been one to do a whole lot of sale pitching and stuff and no infomercials. But the Spirit told me to do this stuff because the simple fact they've been getting this stuff and they've been having prosperity. When they started getting that Venus sister, she started communicating with them. I'm like, but this mother here communicates with me right here. You know, so we want to deal with that at a particular time. What we're going to do is we're going to go to a break, and then we're going to come back. We're going to come back, and we got a whole lot of information to cover. So we're going to go to a break. And some of you people, if you want to, also we got the Hemmitt Love Fund coming up this month. I got my little bucket from the dollar store. So I don't want you to feel neglected. You can always give to the Hemmitt Love Fund. And I greatly appreciate it.
All right.
You know what I'm saying also.
All right. Whoa.
We got that, and we also have the pictures from out. Like I said, they're going fast. So you need to come and get a hold to them. Then we can tell what God or goddess you are, which is the energy you're supposed to be dealing with right now, other than the human energy. And so I was able to get this and put in some text that was fragmented in the early 1900s when they found these things. The research is now gone, so we got it now to a science. So I do those too, those particular readings and stuff. You could do either one thing. You could get $35 a reading. 35 to 40, depends on how generous you are. That's still cheap. Most readings are $50. So this is 35 to 40 bucks, and we either could do some at the party tomorrow for the people that's interested, or you can just get my number from me after the lecture, and then you could also we could do it over the phone at my crib. So either way, so they really work out pretty good. And so we're reintroducing that numerical system. Okay then, so you know, and like I said, you're going to still have the opportunity to either get some of the pictures that's still left over, or also get some, give to the Love Fund. Moving right along. Y'all all right? You all right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving right along, we got a lot to cover. A few other things we got to get out of the way. We got to get out of the way. It's going back that we know now that the couple of things is happening with Homeland Security and different things. Number one, this entire scenario from the buildings being blown up in 2001 and starting the initial lockdown of America and the destruction of America is because they're trying to isolate the Messianic group. The Messianic group is a group of people on the planet that is the Messianic people according to Camite literature and other literature that would be in America. And you've heard me talk about this millions of times in the perfect sermon of Hermes Trismegistus, of a group of people that would rise up in America. The word Camelot, which means new lot of Egypt, King Arthur's court, Arthur coming from the word Otha, which is the king of the dog stars, the form of Osiris. Knights of the Round Table. The Knights is the Knights Templar, but the Knights comes from the word the black. And the Knights Templar venerated their symbol of Baphomet. That's the Satan, the Sabbatic goat, the symbol of the devil that you're always scared of. That was venerated by the Knights Templar, and the Knights Templar venerated that in honor of their masters who taught them, the Moors, which was called the perfected man, or the completed man, or the God man. And the Sabbatic goat that you see, the black man, it was venerated and also conceived and perceived by the Knights Templar, which masters were the Moors. This is all documented in the book, 1960-something book called The Sufis by Adris, this is how to spell that, Adris Shah. A-D-R-I-S, Shah, S-H-A-H, A-D-R-I-S, Shah, S-H-A-H. His book called The Sufis, The Introduction, with Robert Graves. In there it talks about the same Sabbatic goat of the devil's head you see, the one I got on my chest that y'all so scared of, was venerated by the Moors, but no, by the Knights Templars, and it represented their masters, the Moor, which was called the complete man. The Moor by the Knights Templar was called the complete man, which means he had the complete energy of the original energy of the God man. And so the students of the Moors, the Europeans, the goal was to aspire to be the complete man, the Moor, the black Moor. And all of that is in Adris Shah book, The Sufis, 1962. 1964, I think. But anyways, in that book, another book, People of the Secret. Anybody remember that guy's name? I used to talk about it all the time. Anybody remember that? It's called People of the Secret. Can't think of the guy's name. But in there they talked about, they call them, anytime you hear the word Sufis in Spain, that's another word. The word Suf means woolly-haired one. Also in the book, People of the Secret. I can't think of the guy's name right now to come to me. It's still in print. But the Sufis in Spain, the students aspire to be like the Moors, the complete man. The complete man. In the book, People of the Secret, I think the last name is some type of Wilson, I can't, yeah. In that book, People of the Secret, the guy says, the object of the Moors in Spain or in Europe was to make a non-aberrant man. Now, aberrant means what? Abnormal, unusual, unnatural, as a dictionary term. And a non-aberrant man is the Moor, the perfect man, the original man. The aberrant man is a hybrid. I don't even like to say mutant, because a mutation is actuality, could be something good. You see what I'm saying? We're mutating into a new species. So now you hear all this mutant, the X-Men, that's us. But remember the movie, the X-Men comic book and the X-Men movies, Stan Lee, when they asked where did he get the concept of the X-Men from, he said he got it from Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. He said that the Muslim movement, they call it the black Muslim movement, the white folks call it back in the 60s, the black Muslim movement and the civil rights movement. So, you know, you got Professor X wants to integrate with the humans. And the other guy, Magneto, say, fuck that, we need to be alone. Do for self, like Elijah Muhammad. And he took the concepts and gave you X-Men. It was coming, so it's a story of us, and the mutants is us. The mutated advanced people, the God people. So those two movies coming from the comic books is coming from the civil rights movement and the black Muslim movement, or the black conscious movement. Another movie was later on put out in 1997 when they put out the reinstallment of the digitally remastered production of the Planet of the Apes. Now remember, now the Planet of the Apes was a man's thesis, Bouval's thesis, where it was supposed to be a group of people, black people, who lived on the earth at one time and ended up losing control of the earth, and one of the persons traveled back and find out that in actuality that he didn't know, he thought was on another planet because the apes was ruling. That's white folks ruling. And he didn't know that he was on his same planet until he saw the Statue of Liberty. To us, it would be the pyramids. So in the movie, Charlton Heston represents the black man that used to rule in the past and then come back and the white folks is ruling, which is the ape. Bouval didn't ask the black man, and in order to pass his thesis, they told him he needed to change this into the ape thing. We do know that now. It's interesting because we knew that so much until by 1975 or 1974, they did 6 in all. They did the Planet of the Apes, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, then they did the Escape from the Planet of the Apes, and the 4th one was called Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, and the 5th one was Battle for the Planet of the Apes. You see, but Cinemax broke the secret. Cinemax and HBO say you have to get all of them and watch it at one time. Otherwise, they're kind of cheesy now because you know. But they say if you watch it at one time, you get the whole story. But in the 4th movie, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, if you get the DVD version or you get the VHS version of the 1997 re-released digitally remastered, they say in there in the introduction, because they give you an introduction to all the movies, in there they told the truth. When they just re-released it 7 years ago, they said, well, the Conquest of the Planet of the Apes is the movie producers the movie directors and producers in Hollywood wanted to do something on the Watts riots. But they knew that they was not going to have no major studio that was going to touch it. So they knew that they had success with the first 2 Planet of the Apes, Beneath the Planet of the Apes, and the first 3. And they said, well, we got the 4th one coming out and we needed to be very successful. But at that particular time, 1972, we were still into a certain amount of consciousness. You know, you just had Shaft released in 71, Cotton Comes to Harlem in 70, Superfly came in 72, going on in 73, so they said no, and so there's still a certain amount of interest in the black thing that later on led to later forms of the black exploitation movement. But they said, we want to release one on the Watts riots, and they said, no, we ain't going to touch it. So what they did was, they did it clever, and they talked about this in the beginning of the 97 version. They said, well, we'll release Conquest to the Planet of the Apes and use the Watts riots and the rebellion in that movie. So you got to get the Conquest to the Planet of the Apes because that's the way they documented it. You know, that's the way they documented it in that, as well as the movie Brother John, which is a story of Honorable Elijah Muhammad, played by Sidney Poitier. And his life story, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, played by Sidney Poitier in the 1971 version of Brother John. And then the massacres come. In 1973, they decided they were going to do the ultimate assassination of the black man. And then 30 years later, they said they'd do the ultimate assassination of the black woman. The 1973 version of the ultimate killing of the black man, so much until they wrote it in ritual and they put it on a goddamn movie poster, is Enter the Dragon with the killing of Jim Kelly and dropping him in acid by a quote-unquote evil hand. It was a major ritual of the killing of Jim Kelly that would be playing over and over and over again because it's one of the most popular movies in movie history. And it's the murder of Jim Kelly. You see what I'm saying? In the movie. So much that they wrote it in ritual until the actual movie poster had him hanging up, getting ready to be dropped in the acid by the evil hand. They were so successful with it, they did another one that was more grotesque than that, was the murder of the black woman 30 years later. Around the same time that Enter the Dragon was released in the fall of 1973, in the fall of 1993, they released Kill Bill, Volume 1, where, what's your girl name in that? Vivica A. Fox is killed, stabbed to death, And her daughter, the little black girl, is watching her being killed in front of the mother and all. Did it again. And this is a ritual to go on to kill you, to put it in the archetype of collective unconsciousness of murder of black people. And all these are rituals that also went on. That also went on. But there was also some reprieve to that, which was the movie Sugar Hill, which that's the movie you need to watch and be inspired by. When the white man killed her boyfriend, that sister got busy with the voodoo. And the god of the dead, which is Papa Gede of Guate, came up, a Baron Samadi, came up and got the white woman at the end and sacrificed her and killed every white person and Negroes in the movie. Which leads us to the aspect of Emmett Till that they reopened in the case of Emmett Till. And they found out they had 4 Negroes that was involved, not done by the white man. This was the black man's research. The boy who got the documentary, they had 4 niggas that was involved that was working for the white people that killed them. So they were saying, well, you know, we can't really blame them back then because we know back then to even witness something and tell them your white master meant certain death in Mississippi. So they will not blame them at all for keeping quiet. But they say they had about 5 decades to come clean, and them Negroes did not come clean after the 60s came and it was freed up and they could do a little better. In the 70s and the 80s, these niggas kept quiet, so they're getting ready to try 4 black men that knew what time it is, because these silly niggas didn't stand up. Now they're saying, no, we're going to try your monkey ass now. You had 5 years to come forward. We understood that if you witnessed a murder in Mississippi in the 1950s, we can understand you not standing up because we know that would be certain death. But 5 decades go by, the same old savage ass Negroes that won't say nothing, they getting ready to, the United States Senate is getting ready to try these niggas, as well as the white woman that he initially whistled at is still alive. And a couple other white folks that they found out knew about it based on this black man's research. You see what I'm saying? But remember now, this is also a ritual also. It's to bring you something that happened close to 50 years ago. It'll be 50 years next year, 1945 to 1955. And they will give you something old when there's sinister stuff going on every day and you might not know about that for another 60 years. So this is also a form of mind control also. You see what I'm saying? Also, this is the way they're still dealing with this one. Let me explain this to you because this is very important that you must understand what's going on. I know we got the metaphysical thing going on, but I don't want you to get trapped with this. Right now, you need to come out of them groups. I've been telling niggas this thing. I've been telling you this since you've been hearing me. I said, you can't be fucking around with the groups. Now your ass is in hot water. And they get ready to put McCarthy era on you. Nothing you can do about it. Because Negroes are lazy. You don't like to read and study yourself. You don't like to go into a group and let a motherfucker tell you what to do. Well, it's going to cost you your black ass now. Because they got you. Now you better listen to what I'm saying, because this shit is about homeland security. And the laws that's been passed. Now let me walk you through this shit. Now they're locking up mowers all up the East Coast. Now I ain't saying if you're a mower, fine, but you cannot announce it to the government now. Now let me go through this shit. Don't get mad because everybody's up under this. Now let me explain what's going down. Right now you better be so low, because the first incarnation of George W. Bush was to set up the war. The second incarnation is to establish the martial law domestically. One is to set up the war machine abroad, to set up this thing. The second one is to establish that domestically. You know, domestically. You can also write down my address and send me one of them tapes there too, when you get a chance. I got a lot of people that still is on, like to ride around in the car. And it's interesting, that's why they got rid of the audio tapes too, because something about you listening and not seeing. Seeing takes away from certain learning ability. Also, so audio tapes, that's why everything they want to get rid of, they want to do that. You see what I'm saying? So now the Homeland Security system, I want to explain this to you. First of all, our revolution this time was started by video cassette. Video cassette. So they say, look, in the context of us putting these niggas back into slavery and go to war, the first thing we got to cut out is video cassette. It's all based on how can you record. And the most powerful and most advanced thing is video cassette. We'll give them niggas fucking DVDs. Now DVD, I'm not saying you shouldn't get a DVD, because a lot of stuff gonna be coming on DVD and you still need to learn it. The point I'm trying to make here is DVD players, you can get a DVD player from Circuit City for $29. See what I'm saying? They're the cheapest thing going for a technology that damn near just came out. Hell, the VCR just coming to $40. And it's been out for over 20-something, 25, 26, 27 years. Maybe 28 years. Because the first VCR recorder was owned by Elvis Presley before he died. He died in the summer of 77. He owned the first VCR player commercially produced. But it never came down. But the key here is our revolution, as far as our black consciousness, more so than books, because although I had to go and access the book and other scholars, we got the mass of the information that we learned from each other through video cassettes. It's the most powerful thing going. I did my first Dogon video and 3 videos in 92, and in 93 when I went to go lecture in Tennessee, people was coming up the car talking to me like they had known me for years. And my brother said, man, that white man fucked up when he made that VCR. Not only was it all, it was video, you could see people. So the revolution, our revolution was based on VCR and the video, and that's why now everything is DVD, because they can control that. You see what I'm saying? A lot of problems with that whole thing, but they can control that. And they need to cut out the thing because you can't record nothing. Like the night me and my ex-girlfriend Ginger was sitting in the doggone, in our room at night at 3 o'clock in the morning. They showed both gloves at the scene of O.J. Simpson trial. They showed both gloves laying on the damn street in the bushes at 3 o'clock in the morning. I said, damn, we didn't have a VCR. But recording is everything. And if you can't record, you don't get nothing. So they can control the flow what they give you on the DVD. You see what I'm saying? Because all the recording is not in the hands of the consumers yet. You can go and buy a DVD recorder and all this kind of stuff, but that's real high price and different things like that now. You got to have all this technology. But it's not, you can't stick a tape in like you do the VCR and mass recording. They took that out.